Okay, right. So welcome everyone to our 15th TAN Council recurring meeting. For today's meeting, we'll focus on TAN IP1 data, and we'll have some open discussion and Q&A. Firstly, however, as always, let's start with an overview of the TAN Council and the purpose of these recurring meetings. These recurring meetings serve 5 critical functions. They provide transparency to our community. They create a structured forum for proposal discussions, enabling authors to present to the Council and community and to discuss, debate, and refine the formal proposal and voting with consensus. They enable regular platform updates. They ensure consistent communication amongst Council members. And finally, they allow direct community engagement through question and answer sessions. The TAN Council is a local governance organisation within the Telcoin platform. Together, we serve as a provider and administrator of collective goods and services within the jurisdictional domain of the Telcoin Application Network, or TAN. The TAN Council, with our 6 members, makes decisions related to TAN improvements and policies through the TAN IP process. We need 5 out of 6 votes to approve proposals within a 120-hour voting period. Our primary duties are to, firstly, allocate TEL issuance on TAN for stakers and developers to harvest, and secondly, plan and finance the development of the Telcoin Application Network. Our key responsibilities include reviewing and voting on snapshot proposals, attending these bi-weekly meetings, providing regular community updates, monitoring TAN systems, and enforcing operational rules. We use Discord for day-to-day communication, the forum for informal proposal discussions, these recurring council meetings for proposal discussions, deliberation and refinement, and snapshot for formal voting. Overall, the TAN Council has authority over miner harvesting and planning and financing TAN infrastructure. Cool. We're missing Liberty Lad as well, but he said he was traveling, so maybe he's busy. Anyway, welcome everyone, and there's not too much on the agenda today, so I'd like to start by announcing the official joining of our latest council member, BZ, or BZ for the Americans. BZ passed his Know Your Member process, and we're thrilled to have him on the council. He's already had major impacts on a number of fronts within the councils, most notably the streaming to X, which we will be working on building out with the platform council soon, and his rather incredible number of hours spent in the Discord answering community questions. I'm actually not sure he sleeps. Anyway, great to have you on board, BZ, and hoping to keep your momentum going.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. So Andrew Pinch of the Telex Council has very kindly crunched the numbers for the TAN IP1 issuance again. So this is now period 16, and I thought we could look through the graphs he's made. So let me try and get those up now, and we can kind of go through them a bit and discuss. Never actually done this on Discord, so bear with me.
It's at the bottom. There's a share screen right by the disconnect button.
Yeah, I've got that, but it's not giving me, not seeing my tabs. Let's just find this.
There you go. You got it.
Nice. What are you seeing though? Because I can't see what you're seeing.
It's your it is the tab with the data on it. Yep, you're right.
Lovely, perfect. Good. So let me try and get that in a bit of a nicer view. Is that better? I've gone full screen, but it's not full screen now. Oh well, whatever. Can you kind of see that data clearly enough?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So basically what Andrew did here is he picked out the top 10 So over the 16 period so far, he's taken the top 10 wallets. So in terms of their overall earnings, which 10 wallets have earned the most, and he's created these graphs which show the staker fees. So that's basically the fees that the individual wallet produced each period. The referee fees, which is the sum of all of the wallets that have used that wallet referral code and their trading history. And then their tell rewards and missed tell rewards as well. But missed tell rewards, I don't think actually shows up on any of them. So basically, the way I look at it is how much they're earning each week, and basically what proportion of that earnings are coming from that user's actions, that user's trades, compared to that user's referred networks trades. So one thing that's kind of interesting here is these are actually two separate wallets, and these are the top two, and we've kind of been keeping an eye on them for a while now because it seems that they're just kind of trading back and forth with each other, and they have both referred each other. So basically you see that their staker fees and their referee fees are pretty much 50-50 in each period, and they're also quite high. They have been doing a lot of volume. So of the 3.2 million tell available each week, they're basically capturing a high proportion of that because they have a large proportion of the total trades happening throughout the week. So yeah, they have a very similar kind of curve in terms of their tell rewards, and that's basically because they've been doing the same stuff. So one will trade and the other will pretty much copy that trade. So here's another one. The kind of key difference here is that these guys are actually earning a lot more from their referees proportionally. So the actual wallet user is not trading all that much, as you can see by the much smaller blue bars. But the purple bars are a lot bigger, so this kind of suggests that someone has spread their referral code far and wide, and a lot of other people are using it, and those people who have used the code are trading quite regularly. So in a way, we kind of prefer to see this kind of shape in a way, because this kind of signifies that someone has created a network and has referred a lot of people, and those people are active users. So this is kind of, I'd argue this is a much healthier kind of trace than these ones, which are kind of a bit more quote unquote washed traders. Here again, very few individual staker fees, but then a lot of referral fees. So that's also quite healthy. And there they actually missed quite a lot of rewards in the first few weeks. So that means that they hadn't staked enough to be able to earn their full allowance, basically. But it seems that they've now sorted that out. So that's good to see. And then from there on, it's kind of more of the same. Here again, it looks like there are two wallets, very similar behavior, very similar trace. So they've probably referred each other. And usually if you go into the raw data, you can kind of see that. So I'm just seeing if I can see it now. Basically, if the data fees of one match quite closely with the referee fees of the other, they're probably doing that. So basically what would happen here is the 42,000 in staker fees of this first wallet would kind of get passed to as referee fees in this other wallet, and then vice versa. So 50,000 here, you end up with 50,000, and then probably 3,000 have come from another person who's used their referral code. So yeah, I mean, basically that's happening, and it's interesting to see. And I think it's just a function of being early to this, and basically that not enough people are using these trades kind of quote unquote organically. So I think when things properly kick off with coins, and it all seems to be heading that direction, both for Telcoin and in crypto in general, in a broader sense, I think people will be using this technology to, day to day, for example, and then suddenly these guys who are kind of trading back and forth, their volume is a lot less than the kind of global sum of organic trades, and there's no longer an incentive to kind of wash. That's kind of just my thinking, and I'd be very happy to hear other people's opinions or where you think it's going, if there's any kind of action we should be taking at this point. But in many ways, I think everything's kind of working as expected.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, I've talked a lot with Andrew about this, and
Yeah.
it's a proponent certainly of, obviously the perception may be that there's some sort of quote unquote gaming the system or something like that, and that's truly not it. These people are generating lots and lots and lots of fees, and really anybody can do this, and that's really the purpose of the whole program. And just to be clear, these are transactions of any swaps of any sort on the network, on the application, and that's how these fees are generated. So if you have a referral and you're doing the same thing, that's totally kind of the whole purpose of generating and kicking these rewards back to the community. I think the other great thing to mention too is that with Ari's implementation of the new time-weighted staking mechanism, the amount of undistributed, meaning rewards not distributed, has gone down significantly since that's been implemented. So that's been great to see, meaning that all the rewards are being given out to the community, which is a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with you there. It is all working as it should. This is volume coming through the app, through the system, which is great, and it's kind of a battle testing in a sense. And yeah, the fact that Ari's changes have had like a meaningful impact as well is pretty neat. I think this was the only case of mistel rewards before. I don't remember exactly which period Ari's implementation kind of kicked in, but that kind of suggests we're headed in the right direction. So good to kind of frame it in that way. And yeah, it's cool. It's exciting. We've got kind of a lot of levers to play with here, and
Leo,
sorry.
If I may. I don't think it's Ari's 10 IP that reduced the lost fees, but rather that among the same dozen addresses since the beginning, as I showed 2 weeks ago. So it's always the same, like dozen address. There was simply a bit less activity from the referrals of these 10 or 12 addresses, so fewer fees were generated, and that's the only reason why it decreases from 200,000 and 52K for last week and 42K for this week. but it's again always the same addresses. Since the last 10 periods, the last 11 addresses, they came back for one address 10 times on 10, one 9, two addresses 8 times, 4 addresses 6 times. So that's a lot. In fact, it's just the referees are doing less volume, so less money is lost. But I
doesn't
really
the cap
think we
work?
are rethinking a change.
Doesn't the cap compare the amount you have staked to the amount you'll be earning from the issuance? So it doesn't actually necessarily, if everyone's referrers transact less, you're still in the same spot. You should still be capped the same amount, or
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. Andrew and I have been talking about putting out some sort of explanation or a post or video or something just explaining how the calculation works. But in jest, you're right. It factors your previously cumulated rewards given, and that counts against your total staked cap. So yes.
yeah, okay. But like just to kind of get it straight in my head as well, if all of the trades next week were exactly the same as this week, but 20% less kind of thing, you'd still be looking at ignoring the cap. You'd still get the same amount of TEL tokens. You still get the same distribution because you're
Right.
competing with
Right. Yeah.
the rest
So
of
the distribution is the correct. Yeah, the distribution is the percentage of, I guess, the pie, right, that you've generated out of everybody's fees. So if you have 10%, you'll get 10% of the 3.2 million. If you have 50%, you'll get 50% of the 3.2 million. And that's kind of the idea is it's weighted based on how much you do versus everybody else, purposely like that.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. And then the cap kind of comes in after that, and that's based on how much you have staked, your average over the week, and that becomes your kind of upper limit of how much you can earn that week.
Right. There's some nuances to that which we're going to work out exactly how best to explain that. But the general calculation, which I posted in Discord once or twice, is that it's there is a time weighted calculation that Ari came up with that's based on a per block settlement. So how much TEL you have staked at that time that block is settled, and that's the primary way that's determined, your cap amount for that week.
Got you. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'd be happy to help with that. I think that would be a useful explainer. We can really nail that down. Make it clear for everyone.
Sounds good.
Nice. So does anyone from the audience have anything they want to ask, or anything they're unsure of? Can be this, can be anything association related. Fire away. You can come up and speak as well if you like. Don't be shy. Not that scary. Any insider update about exchange listing? Even if we had updates, I don't think we could share them. So, no, I'm afraid not. Knoppesym has posted the. Knoppesym, do you want to run us through quickly your sheet here again?
I don't know. I can't share my screen, but just I was answering to Andrew because that's all my sheets are about. Just from the last 10 period, I just copied all the addresses which received 0 rewards because they did not stake anything. And if he's looking at it, there is in the one previous column on 10 how many times they came back. So you've got the numbers and showing if it's because it's staker fees or referral fees. But I can share as well the previous one, and you'll see it's almost the same.
Okay.
Here it is. So from the beginning, it's only those who haven't stacked who are losing all the fees, except for 2 or 3 periods sometimes, and when you've got new users, but the week after they are stacking and receiving the rewards properly.
Okay. Right. Can you share your screen and run us through kind of cell by cell? I think that might be the easiest. Or try and walk me through and I'll try and cursor it.
Yeah, I will do it in 2 weeks. I don't know, because I left this conf and came back. The option to share my screen is in gray, not in white. So I don't know why.
Hang on, that might be because I'm sharing. Let me stop this and then you can. Any better?
Yeah. Is it big enough for you? Like that?
Nice. If you can make it fill your screen would be awesome.
He also posted the screenshot too, if you want to grab it that way. Andrew said that he'll connect and talk through this. He's having some kid stuff right now, but he has some thoughts as well and wants to follow up.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
If you see this one, last week we had a ratio, bonus fee reward ratio of around 1, and a fee loss of 52K, shared among 11 addresses. So the score of 1, total. The ratio was better than the previous one, which was the first time it was below the 1, so it was 0.88. We talked about it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So last week, back to 1. So all you had to pay.
Remind me what that formula is again?
It's just the reward that you received with the staker fees you paid if you had no referees. Okay, if you are just alone fighting for the rewards, or if you don't have staker fees but you have referee fees, it's just the rewards on the volume which is done. Total volume made, in fact.
Okay.
So it was 1, and for this week, back below 1 with 0.94, only to 42K rewards undelivered, and you can see it's a dozen address, and the last one at the end lost 2.7K because he was capped at 1,000. Okay, and he could have received 3.7 thousand.
Okay.
And I like the Andrew's graph I put in the bottom left corner. It's clearly visible that when you've got more volume, so blue and orange, so for period 7, 15, and 17, it's the maximum, and it is where we had the smallest ratio. And on the second graph, as you just said, missed tail rewards are decreasing. So hopefully we will never go higher than 4 million.
Yeah.
And in this
Okay.
column here, as I said, you can see on the last 10 period how many times those addresses came again. 10, 6, 3, 6, 8, 9, 5, 2. This one is new for 2 weeks now. Below
Okay.
6, 3, and 6. So you see it's quite recurring. But since 2 weeks ago when we talked, we had the yellow address, which was present for the previous 6 times, and maybe he found out he was not having the rewards, and he disappeared just for this for this week. So we'll see next week if he's well on track now.
Okay. I think I'm with you. Yeah, it'd be cool to iron all this out, and we'll get Andrew on it as well because he seems to love data, and we can take all of this into account and bring it in 2 weeks. Would be cool.
One other thing that Andrew and I were working on was figuring out a rough calculator that the community could use to figure out what they would maximum need to stake based on their previously earned rewards. So it would be an easy way for people to say, am I close to my cap or am I not? So they could stake more. And the other thing we were working on was trying to project out on a further timeline some of these larger wallets and how much more, if they maintain the same amount of activity, they will continue to have to stake week over week to not be capped, because it'll give us a good idea of how long is this type of activity sustainable, and because volumes, these transactions are a good thing and we want to continue to foster that. So I thought some interesting data that we can pull, but it'd probably be good if we all worked on this a little bit offline and then can present it.
Yeah, sounds good. I don't know about the extrapolating the, I mean, technically they could do it forever, right?
You're correct, but like the exercise I was doing, they can, absolutely. The exercise I was doing was more about seeing how much that, if you aggregate that over everybody that's, coming close to their cap, how much will our amount held in stake continue to grow, which is, locked supply essentially. And then if you really just, start calculating that out on a longer timeline, what does that look like? So, like these wallets, these two are approaching about 14 million, and we'll talk about the calculation later because Marcus was helping us with some understanding there of a cap each. So I mean that's significant, and if you play that out by 6 months over some of these large transaction wallets, it's just going to create an ever expanding amount of locked circulating supply, which is something to think about on a long-term basis.
What are the thoughts around locking up supply? Because a lot of people seem to think it's good, but I don't know. I don't know where that comes from, kind of thing.
Well, it comes from locked supply. Just simply means an inflation of the per coin value, right? Less in circulation, higher per coin value. Now, the counter argument to that is I think that's a premature conversation really to even be talking about until we really understand what the network, what effect that would have on the network and the transaction fees. Again, that's above my head from that standpoint, but just a broad strokes perspective, and why people quote unquote like locked supply is it creates a squeeze on the additional coin value or the asset value. In this case, it's the reason why Bitcoin is as high as it is. It's because it has some of the lowest supply that will never go higher than that. So that's why people it is a way that a lot of other projects that don't have use cases are able to grow their value per coin. So that's why it's something that always comes up.
I mean, the locking here, you can easily unstake and it's no longer locked, right? It's not
Absolutely.
like they're vesting or something. Right?
Correct. But I guess the point is it's still the individual's coins. It's still theirs. Yes, it's an artificial scarcity, like Braun is saying. but it does, if you want to earn rewards, you're going to have to stake more. And it'll be curious to see if there's a flexion point at some point where people are like, oh, it's not worth the rewards I'm earning to stake anymore. That's really where I'm going with this.
Okay, so yeah. That'll be interesting. I don't think we have any indication of that yet, though, or any evidence to suggest we're kind of close to that.
Oh, no, we're far away from that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to. I can't think what you'd use to predict where that might be. So yeah, maybe that's what makes it interesting.
I think really what it does is it just overall incentivizes more people to stake more and earn more in the rewards. And I think it just goes to show that the TANP 1 program, it's working. It's doing as it was intended to do. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. I'm on side with that. Yeah. Andrew's asked, are there any updates on new devs applying for GSMA? No, I actually need to get back in touch with Bilal from TGC. They've gone a bit quiet, but no more news on that front. You guys will be the first to know when there is. That is our bread and butter. So, yeah. Okay. Any more? Any other questions? TAN related, general TA related, anything we can help with? Anything on X?
No, there was a redundant question about exchange listings, but we already covered that. So.
All right. Yeah. People's favorite.
Yeah. But no other questions. I've asked a few times. If anything comes up, I'll let you know.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's kind of everything I was hoping to cover. So I think we can park that there, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks' time.
Excellent. See you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. Good night.